What's up, everybody? It's Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/thehardyconstruction with your host, Comp, and...
Member.
Today's film is...
Alien 1.
Alien 1979. It's about the commercial vessel Nostromo, which receives a distress call from
I guess it wouldn't be called Alien 1.
distress call from an unexplored planet. After searching for survivors, the crew heads home only to realize that a deadly bioform has joined them. This film has been picked today because it is...
It is Josh Month. My dad month.
Josh Month is particularly 5 films by Josh Blankety Blank. I won't say his last name because I don't want
I don't want
the mafia to find Danny.
You know, I'm so great. Everyone's gonna stalk me.
They're gonna love you. Anyway, so this film, it stars Tom Skerritt as Dallas, Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, Veronica Cartwright as Lambert, Harry Dean Stanton as Brett, John Hurt as Kane, Ian Holm as Ash, and Yaphet Kotto as Parker.
You know what I never knew is that's Bilbo Baggins.
Yes, of course. How could you not know it's Bilbo Baggins?
I'm terrible with that kind of stuff.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. I never make connections with names of actors and, like, faces. I'm always confused.
And also...
It's also in Fifth Element.
Also, Tom Skerritt, who plays Dallas, is Tom Skerritt. Can you imagine that? Anyway, so this film takes place many, many years in the future, right, Danny?
Many. And, so it's like they're, like, just a cargo ship that's getting some ore and shit. And, you know, they just awoke from stasis and because they received the distress signal.
Yes, and their ship is called, nicknamed Mother. So, obviously it was named after the Danzig song, so that's a pretty cool reference to it. Like 15 years before it actually happened. No, but
Well, you know, in the future they could time travel and shit.
So that's true. There you go. They'll do something like if they forgot to drink like a medicine, they'll time travel like using expensive equipment 15 minutes in the past.
Ridley Scott actually cut out the scene, but there's at the end of every shift, at the end of the day, they all like hold hands as that song plays. And they form a circle and they just listen to that song and then they go back in the biostasis.
And they're like, I never liked him in that other band where he dressed up as Frankenstein. Anyway, so Alien, yes, I must admit I've never seen this film until this very moment. So
really?
Yeah, I always saw Aliens and then I was like, I'm good with that one. It was so fun. I think I've seen.
I'm really familiar with Aliens, like way more than this one, but this is definitely the first.
Yes, it's a very important film to watch if you're a horror aficionado. So I guess I'm not really a horror aficionado. So fuck you all.
You're not a real horror fan.
No, I'm not. You know, one time that reminds me of a friend who his brother was like talking to me about something. Because you're not a true fan of this and that. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Anytime that argument comes up, you're not a real fan. I was like, oh, I'm not a real fan. Okay, I didn't have to wave flags for stuff. Get the fuck out of here. I'm getting mad about it.
You gotta prove yourself to people, man.
Yes,
Come on.
Everybody else's thoughts of you is so important. It's really important that you
true.
Give a shit.
And if you don't prove yourself to me, then you're not a fan of X.
Oh yes, that's like that was like in the news like a while back. These 2 guys, they're juggalo. You know what juggalos are, right? They're like they like
the like male hooker,
insane clown posse.
Oh, those people.
And 2 of them thought that the third guy who had a juggalo tattoo, they didn't think he was worthy to have a juggalo tattoo, so they decided to cut the tattoo off of his arm and beat him unmercifully. So now the guy was like, they have to actually amputate the guy's arm because I think he got infected. So there you go. It's juggalo time for you guys.
You know what? It sounds like Insane Clown Posse has a good thing going.
You know, not for nothing, I don't listen to their music. But they make some of the best, worst movies ever made. They're big money.
Make movies?
Yeah, Big Money Hustlers. They're horrible. They're really horrible.
Like purposefully horrible?
I would hope so, because there's no way this can be done on purpose. But they're hilarious. But anyway, I guess I'm gonna lose some points for that. Alien. What are we talking about?
Don't judge us.
So Alien. Yeah, I never seen the film. I'm mostly familiar with Aliens, which is the sequel directed by James Cameron, which I love. It's probably one of my favorite science fiction films of all time, which deals more with science... Well, yeah, I guess this does deal a lot with science fiction.
I feel like the first one is more science fiction, less horror. The second one's definitely way more horror.
When I was reading the trivia for the film, when they had people read bylines for the movie, like when they had to sell the idea to companies to...
Was it like, no one could hear you scream in space? Or
right, that was actually made up by an ad copy woman who created that line, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
They said, oh, it's like Jaws in space. And I was like, you know what, that's exactly what this movie is. It's like Jaws in space. Like,
it's like, you know what it's like? It's like Alien in space.
I mean, I like this movie a lot. I liked it more for the tone, the look. Like, you can tell they gave a shit about every frame in this film.
Oh, yeah, it's everything looks amazing. The art in this movie is amazing. H.R. Geiger is like a fucking genius.
Everything looks phenomenal in this. Phenomenal. Is that right? You got it.
You can do it. I know you're just learning the language still.
Sorry. But I thought everything looked great about this film. The acting's really good, but I still would go with Aliens more. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, but this is what started it.
I'd almost feel like people think that's sacrilege to like kind of say that.
No, I agree. I think Aliens is a better movie,
but you can see
this is what fucking like opened it up, and this is like a groundbreaking movie.
Of course, yeah, definitely. Aliens owes everything to this film, obviously, just for what's in it. But I don't know if that's sacrilege to say, because you can definitely see the difference between both films, between Alien and Aliens, is that Alien has this European kind of grand, style to it, where it feels it lets you breathe the film in.
And the music is a lot different too.
It lets you breathe the film in more, like for the first at least half an hour. It lets you breathe and feel the context of the world. And then the last, 20 minutes kind of goes...
And then the last 20 minutes, you're, like, bombarded with the butt crack of Sigourney Weaver.
Yes, it's true.
There's a good butt crack.
I gotta say, she had the nice, shapely ass of a 12-year-old Asian boy. But this is the first movie where I actually thought Sigourney Weaver was pretty attractive. I've never gotten into Sigourney Weaver, even in Ghostbusters.
You don't think she's hot when she's floating 3 feet above the bed?
And then she spins around you in a circle?
Yeah, and bites at him. I think that's so hot.
I mean, I couldn't get into her really. In this one, she's very pretty. I think she's actually very pretty in this. But a funny story is like
she's weird looking, but she is pretty. I think she's hot.
She is very pretty in this one. A funny story is like my mom and I were walking around Chinatown one day when I was very young, and we saw Sigourney Weaver looking through groceries and stuff, or whatever, plants and stuff. And then my mom goes up to her and she goes, "Are you Sigourney Weaver?" And then Sigourney Weaver says, "No." And ever since that day, my dad would just make fun of her all the time. He says, "Hey, what about your best friend Sigourney Weaver?" Like, he's always doing that.
That's really funny.
Because I guess the woman with Sigourney Weaver went up to my mom and was like, she's just kind of having her day. And I laugh my ass off. Like, you...
That's so funny.
That's like just saying no. Imagine somebody's... if only we could do that in real life to people we just don't...
Yeah, I hope I'm ever, like, famous, so that way people would be like, "Are you Danny?" I'd be like, "No, sorry."
And they're holding a giant newspaper
with someone.
They have a giant newspaper with your face on it, and your shirt says "I'm Danny" on it at the same time.
Right.
So
it's like a little kid who wants my autograph, and I'm like, "Nah, sorry, kid."
That happened to somebody we know a while back too. I'm sorry to bring this up. It was Tobey Maguire, and apparently his ex-girlfriend, at the time it was his girlfriend, she saw Tobey Maguire, I guess doing something. Like he was smoking a cigar. I don't know how true this is, but the girl went up to him and she's like, "Oh my God!" She goes, "Toby, can I have your autograph?" And this is what he said. This is what he said that Tobey Maguire did to her. That he had the cigar and he blew the smoke out, and he said, "Nope," and he just walked away.
That's awesome.
That's the funniest fucking thing I heard in my life.
Yeah, but the guy's trying to smoke a cigar and relax, and this little girl's going up to a pestering him. Come on.
So after, she broke up with him, he would just say Tobey Maguire was like the best actor of all time. Anyway, so Alien. Why do you think your dad enjoys this movie so much?
Well, he was always up to date on new horror movies, and I chose this one because him and my mom, when pregnant with me, saw this, and it traumatized my mom because there's like a
pregnancy,
like a ripping out of the body scene.
Oh my God!
And I was the firstborn, so
he must have loved it. He must have been like, just watching. This is what I did to you. The aliens. Let's describe the whole look of the alien universe. It's
it's great.
Designed by is he German? I forget.
I think he's some kind of
European. That's
he's
who
some
he is.
kind of non-American.
H.R.
That's what I'm going to
Giger,
call those others.
H.R. Giger, who recently passed away because he fell down a flight of stairs and his.
Is it Geiger or Giger? I never know.
I always thought it was
Geiger.
I always said Geiger myself, but I think they said H.R. Giger whenever they mentioned it on TV or something like that. Yeah, right.
I'm going to stick with what I know.
What sucks is that he fell on his head and that's what killed him. You know, it's like not old age. It's just like he falls right on his head down a flight of stairs and that's what kills him. Or is that how he died?
That's kind of cool in a way.
No, not cool for him.
If you're gonna die, it's better to die like.
Wait, was it him or Dario Argento? I know Dario Argento just fell down a flight of stairs and he had to go to the hospital for it. Maybe it was HR.
He probably has like some autistic woman taking care of him, like one of his movie characters.
And then
who like doesn't care if he lives or dies.
And then a puppet on a bicycle just runs into the room and laughs. Yeah, but H.R. Geiger did die from an accident, as far as I remember. He has a very gothic European look to his work. And
super sexual.
He has his own
biomechanical, he calls it.
Right, he has his own museum and everything. So I mean, it's crazy like how gifted this guy was, and his work still lives on. And the original Alien design actually had 4 eyeballs, and then I think Ridley Scott said, let's take the eyes out so we can just leave it more menacing and more creepy. And apparently the original like facial sculpture of the thing has like a human skull element to it, so that's why they shot around it for some reason. When I was reading the trivia, is that they made it so that the alien looked alien, and that they only shot it in close-ups or like from profile or from far away, so that way you couldn't really see it was a man in a suit. And the man in the suit was like this 7-foot graphic artist, and I think from South Africa, if I'm right.
Okay.
And I mean, the guy, they utilize it really good. Like the alien, like it has that.
The scene, it's such a classic scene is when the alien initially bursts out.
Oh right.
And, like forever, I'm gonna, I always intertwine that with Spaceballs in my mind.
Oh yeah, it was so funny with Spaceballs when that alien pops out of the. I think it's John Hurt again reprising his role, which is funny.
Okay.
John Hurt, yeah, because then you see the alien come out, and then you can clearly see the pole that's holding the alien's foot up as it runs across the counter.
Right, and it's doing the, like, hello, my baby thing.
Yeah, and then later on they fix it. Spaceballs is a very underrated movie. People shit on Spaceballs, but I think that's one of his best, like,
There's a point where I watched it every night to go to bed.
Yeah, it was a great movie. Pizza the Hut? Come on, how can you... Anyway, John Hurt, do you remember him in... did you see V for Vendetta? I just saw it a couple days ago again.
I didn't. I need to see that.
You never saw V for Vendetta?
Nah, it's like on my list.
Wow, to me that's still like one of the best like genre movies where they gave a shit about it.
I was hoping you were gonna say I'm not a true comic book fan or something.
Yeah, you're totally not the right guy for this job, guys. But no, it really John Hurt plays like the mega bad guy. John Hurt's been in a lot of stuff. He's like very English, but yeah, he was great, and he plays Kane. The wrestler from WWE in this, and he gets he's the first one that's attacked by one of the vagina creatures, right? In the film.
What?
He's one of the first people that gets attacked by the vagina creature in the film.
Right. Yeah, that's when he gets it makes love to his face.
Yeah, it's so funny. The creature looks different in this one than
it squirts its cummies down his face.
it looks different in this version than it does in Aliens, because it has like more of a protruding tentacle in the sequel than in this one.
Yeah, but, and you get a much closer look at it. They get more freaky looking as the movies progress.
Right, and but that's just because I don't know what they went with part 2 and part 3. Like when I saw part 3, I was like, "What the hell is this?" I think I got
like part 3.
No, I didn't. When I saw part 3, I had gotten
spoiled. People always shit on Resurrection, and I love that one too.
Yeah, I didn't like that one either. And it's written by the guy who directed Avengers, which is Joss Whedon, who did the first 3. Who did Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right,
and
right.
I used to.
You know what else? Dan O'Bannon wrote the screenplay for Alien. I didn't even know that ever. Like I was, just researching it for this review. And
what are all Dan O'Bannon's greatest hits?
Return of the Living Dead. Like.
Yeah, right. He died.
He's done a lot of other things, like Total Recall and stuff.
He died a couple of years ago as well, and yeah.
But that guy, he's made a lot of things that I love.
He got into a lot of fights with Ridley Scott on set, and I think he embarrassed him, and then Ridley Scott banned him from sets, which is pretty funny. But yeah, Alien had a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Like originally, Ripley was a male character, and
right.
but the script was unisex. So when Dan O'Bannon wrote it, they had a couple of writers come in and fix it up a bit. I think Walter Hill, the guy who directed the Warriors, he actually the script was unisex, so you can play with casting them male or female, but Ripley was supposed to be a guy, and there was actually a sex scene between Ripley and Dallas in a further version, but they cut that out as well, which I'm fine with because it doesn't. This doesn't.
Yeah,
that would
I'm
have
glad
felt
that
very.
there's no sex scenes in this.
That would have felt very exploitative, which is fine, but
I mean,
who
I
gives
was
a
happy
shit?
to see a butt crack, but
And
we don't need sex scenes.
I gotta
we'll
say,
save that for the Ghostbusters cutscenes.
when I was watching this the first half last night, and in like the first 5 minutes or so, it's like wordless, and then you see everybody get out of their sleeping pods at the opening.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching it, and I was like, "Damn, this is like." And this is funny because this is coming off the tail end of me watching the latest reboot of Ninja Turtles.
It's
And
fucking amazing. Like what they did in this very long ago time with no special, with no CGI or anything. It's crazy.
And I'm just watching the editing at the beginning of when they just get out of their pods and there's that shoot, I mean, it's like all these faded transitions of John Hurt getting out of his pod and it's going from one shot close up to far away. And I was like, there's more care in this one shot than I've seen in like the last 10 movies I've seen in theaters. It's like there's so much going on in the film. And the score is like this kind of atonal.
Like, made all of those things. Like they're physical things that they build, like in a fucking bed and stuff. It's so crazy.
And people give a shit. You could tell the director Ridley Scott was trying to make something. Even if in the end, if you watch the film, it's just basically Friday the 13th in a space station, which is obviously Friday Jason X, but
right.
At least
or Predator in a space station.
Right. At least in this, like, there was care involved to make you feel like they gave a shit about making the movie. That there's, like, when they're talking, they don't specifically say Weyland Yutani. You know what I mean? They don't, which is the company that pays them to go shipping around in the galaxy.
Right.
But that's there. You see it in mugs. You when they speak to the machines. When the whole setup feels realistic. It feels believable. Even if
the whole fucking thing with the replicants. Yeah, like what I was saying to you before.
I say robot. You say it's replicants. We'll go
ahead.
It
is a replicant.
Explain it.
I think it really is because it's the same world as Blade Runner. It's supposed to be like the same universe,
Okay.
And that's
another one I haven't
Ridley
seen.
Scott. He brought them in, like they're replicants.
I think I've only seen the first 12 minutes of Blade Runner, which I thought was pretty cool, which is amazing.
Blade Runner is really cool. You're not really a fan of sci-fi, is what I'm saying to you now.
That's fine by me. Who wrote Blade Runner originally?
I think
that was
might
a Philip
also
K.
be
Dick, right?
Based on Philip K. Dick.
Yeah, so this wasn't based on a Philip K. Dick book, so I'm completely wrong with that.
I don't think
This was straight from Dan O'Bannon, and they did a lot of changes where like Ash wasn't originally in the script and he wasn't a robot at all, so they kind of added that in, which was a pretty neat kind of.
They have to throw in some semen-filled robots,
he was so horny in outer space. That's what happens. He hadn't jacked off.
Exactly. The alien, when he saw that face hugger, face fucking Kane or whatever,
it awakened the sexual.
Got so turned on that all of his cum imploded back into his body and turned.
It was
crazy.
literally leaking out of his forehead when he was talking to Sigourney Weaver at the end of the movie.
And then he just started going nuts. Like, oh my god, it's like the worst case of blue balls we've ever seen.
They were literally blue too. Like if you saw them, they turned to blue.
They were blue. They were starting to get like varicose veins in those balls, and the cum was just leaking through his whole bloodstream. It was
like
sick.
must jacket. Anyway, exterminate. Anyway, so what I liked about the film too is that like Sigourney Weaver isn't really a main character until the last like half an hour, 40 minutes of the movie. She's like,
you don't know she's gonna be the hero.
Not
really.
at all. She's just talking around, walking around. For anything, it's Dallas who's sort of the main character because he's the captain of this ship, and each character has their own quirk about them.
Say it again.
Each character has their own quirk about them, like Yaphet Kotto's character, who plays Parker, the guy who was always talking about money all the time because he just wants to get paid.
He's probably Jewish.
Harry, he's a Jewish black man.
Do you think Jewish people exist in the future, or have we all been exterminated?
I'm not going to touch that joke. So anyway, there's Danny's Jewish, by the way. So there's Harry Dean Stanton, who plays Brett. He is a very he's one of those that guys. that guy actors. You know, if you've seen him in a lot of films and stuff like that. He's walking around with his ball cap. Veronica Cartwright, I'm sure I know of her name and I've seen her a lot. She's a pretty young lass with bright blue eyes who thought she was gonna play Ripley, but at the moment when they
she was supposed to play Ripley?
No, she thought it was actually between Sigourney Weaver and who's that actress that wins every Oscar? Meryl Streep. And I can imagine.
That wouldn't have been good at all.
She's a good actor, Meryl Streep.
Yeah, but could you imagine if she was the fucking heroine of all the Alien movies?
She would have outacted the alien. Like, the alien would have been like, God damn, you're a good actor. And then the alien would have shot itself out of the fucking space station.
After imploding would come.
And, so anyway, yeah, you really don't see Sigourney Weaver's Ripley as a main character because she has minimal lines in the beginning and only comes in towards, like, 40 minutes later where she's seen as third in command. I think she was third in command. I'm not sure. I think she was actually second in command.
She was the commanding officer only because the two commanding officers weren't on the ship.
Okay, right. So they were actually woken up in the middle of their trek back home because Mother picks up a distress call from an uninhabited space station, and they don't know they don't know if it's an origin of like human or what. They just hear. They don't know it's a space station. They just hear that they get a distress call. Is that what it's called? You make that,
it's like a small asteroid type of thing.
Is that what you call it? That's what a planetoid is? I never knew that.
A planetoid's a step above an asteroid, I think. I don't know, whatever.
Oh, so it's like an inhabitable...
Well, yeah, I guess.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I feel smarter now. Everybody, read science fiction books and you can be as cool as Danny when you make up bullshit.
I hope I'm not wrong, because now everybody listening to this, like, the three people are like, he's a fucking idiot.
This fucking guy, this motherfucker. And then he blows up like a union building. So they go. The three people go off the Nostromo, and they go on the ship. They go like a scouring ship. They go into this floating planetoid or a ship actually, and find a deceased crew or one crew member who's like the scale was actually 25 feet of the statue, the character. The creature that they find. What do they call that character? The ship.
What?
The creature that they find in that on that space station. The abandoned space station. Yeah, it has a name to it. The Gunner or some shit like that. Oh my god.
I know.
Well, anyway, it's a prop that ended up actually getting burnt down in real life, which is kind of sad. Because could you imagine having that in your house? Like, it's 25 feet, so I don't know if you could put it in your house. And in that scene, when you see them discover this, this dead creature, like laying prone in a seat, they actually Ridley Scott's kids were doubling as them. So the perception, I'm not kidding, it's like they put them in suits and the kids were actually passing out because the suits were too hot. And,
really? And
yes.
he's probably yelling at them the whole time, like they're like, Dad, please. Like, they've been eating in like 12 hours. Like,
now shut up
this whole makeup thing. He's like, shut up, stay still.
Shut up, you ain't gonna eat your gruel if you don't do more same. Yeah, right. So yeah, the kids. They see this, which is pretty funny because they're kind of indifferent. I don't know if on in that future.
I think that they've seen, aliens or something.
Do you think so? I don't think they have. I think this was the first time they've actually...
I mean, Prometheus, I think, is the first time that they really see aliens for the first time ever.
I see. How many years is Prometheus before Alien?
I don't know exactly.
Because I know Aliens...
A few hundred.
In Aliens, it's like 85 years or something like that, right? Like 80 or so years after Alien?
Alien 1... Aliens is pretty soon after the first movie. Alien 3, I think, is like a long time.
No, I think it's because her daughter grows up and dies. Oh, no, her daughter grows up. Remember?
I don't know. Whatever. I don't know enough about it to say.
But anyway, they discover this giant creature, and obviously the whole time, that fucking Ash guy is very, like, he seems...
He's so horny, I'm telling you, that's what it is.
He wanted to fuck everybody.
Everybody's looking at, like, he is visualizing his dick, like, piercing holes into their torsos and
shit. He just wanted to bang Yaphet Kotto really badly.
He wants to rip open parts of their body that aren't meant to be ripped open and just, like, shove his robot penis into it.
Another great movie people should watch with Yaphet Kotto is Live or Let Die. It's a James Bond movie where he fights, like, mostly...
Live or Let Die.
Where he fights mostly African-American characters and they call him Honky all the time. It's pretty great. And then Yaphet Kotto gets shot with a blow dart, and it's like the funniest like James Bond villain death because he expands to 30 times his size and floats in the air and explodes. It's a great thing. It's
My brother's like really into all the James Bond movies. I've never seen any except GoldenEye.
Oh boy, you know what? You're not missing out much. They're all the same
I
film.
kind of want to see them one day. I don't know.
They're all basically the same film. It's like watching Jason, but he's getting paid and having sex with like European women. So
Right.
they discover this giant creature, and then one of the characters, Kane, sees an egg, and the egg hatches open, and the face hugger attacks him, and he's brought back. It's a pretty gruesome looking special effect. I mean, the special effects are really good for a film from 1979.
Yeah,
I mean, it's on the
really good.
cusp of the 1980s, where all practical special effects are amazing looking.
I think that anybody that talks about CGI is better needs to watch movies from the Alien series in general.
I like that they
And
explain.
then shut up.
I like that they explain that the face hugger is putting oxygen in the person, because I never understood that watching the sequel.
They're just guessing. They don't know.
Oh no! I thought that they showed
it's
it.
keeping them alive while it's laying eggs and shit, so maybe it is, but I think, who knows what that guy Ash is really thinking. He's a replicant.
That's true. I really hate that you're saying replicant. It's just bugging me. But
He's a replicant.
He's a robot to me.
Okay, anybody listening to this, if he's not a replicant, explain to me why he's not a replicant.
Do replicants bleed white in that other
Blade
movie?
Runner?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Aha! Fuck you.
But
So anyway,
they're the same fucking thing. He's a Cylon.
Yeah,
he's a fucking replicant. He's something.
Supposedly when they were writing about Prometheus, there were all those notes about it was going to be a mix-up between Alien and Blade Runner in a shared universe. And he's supposed to make a sequel to Blade Runner, but I don't think Prometheus made enough money. Because he's supposed to also make a sequel to Prometheus as well.
I would love that. A lot of people hated Prometheus. I don't know.
I don't know. The trailer.
I liked it a lot.
The trailer really sold me.
Yeah, it's not as great as Aliens, but it's really good.
I remember I was on a date and I was getting really hyped about the trailer. You know the I think it was the last theatrical trailer for Prometheus, where it has a doodle doodle. It has a weird sound effect of an alarm going on. And
Okay.
it's like every trailer nowadays where it cuts to black and then the image cuts to black, and it's a great trailer. And I was like, oh man, this looks good. And the girl next to me was like, you're a fucking asshole. And it looked really good. Then I just kept hearing, it was
Hmm.
underwhelming and it was bad. And they kept blaming it on David Lindelof, who wrote Lost. Because apparently...
It's not... I wouldn't say it's the best of the Alien movies, but it's fucking good.
Listen,
it's
got to be better than anything after Alien 2, because I can't stand Alien 3, Alien 4, Aliens Go to
Aliens
Jamaica.
vs. Predator and shit
Those
don't
are
even count.
those are horrible. Those movies. Those are not
I think the second one was actually a little better, but
What? Aliens vs. Predator Part 2, because it's like a snuff film. They just blow people up. That's all it is.
yeah, well, at least it's fucking rated R or whatever.
but the
the
reason
first
why
one was rated PG or something.
It's like my idea about Predator. Predator 1 was fantastic. Predator 2 was fantastic. To me, for Predator 2, I loved a lot more than
I
the
think
first
Predator
one
1 was better.
That's what people say. I like Predator 2 more because it was set in an urban landscape and there was people kicking the shit out of each other.
The movie Predators was okay, I guess. I don't know.
That movie sucked. Did we watch that movie together?
I think we might have reviewed it even.
No, I don't think we never reviewed it. I think we saw it. I definitely know I saw that piece of shit, and I was like, "What is Adrian Brody doing here, doing this type of voice?" I was just very frightening.
And who was the one that betrayed them?
Ugh, somebody betrayed them? Lawrence Fishburne?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the worst. And I like Lawrence Fishburne a lot, especially now he's on Hannibal. Lawrence Fishburne was some of the worst acting I've ever seen in a movie. In that
He'll
movie,
always be from Pee Wee Herman.
Cowboy Curtis is like, "Hey, Pee Wee." Anyway, Cowboy. I didn't want people to think I was going to make a racist joke there. So, This film, the scare factor, what do you think about it?
It's not scary so much, but I could imagine, the first of its kind, it was probably very scary to people just seeing it.
Yeah, I can definitely see people watching this film and being taken aback, because the creature certainly is unnerving. You know, when you see an alien, I don't know... I mean, I'm sure there's been...
It's fucking creepy. The idea of, this weird finger creature, fucking your face and making aliens pop out of you is creepy.
There's many different iterations of how the aliens looked in horror films from the 70s, like these lumbering creatures to melting messes and stuff like that. So this alien looked very sleek and much like a panther or something. It looked like a killing machine. which I think is what people were like, holy shit, when they saw it for the first time, because it didn't look like anything they'd done before.
A fucking guy in a little green suit with big eyes.
Right, and the H.R. Giger's like drawings, because I think it was out of his book called the Necronomicon, which is that where Evil Dead got the name from? The Necronomicon from there, or is that just a genuine
I think they
general
got it from
name?
Lovecraft.
Right, you're right.
Yeah.
So, Lovecraft, and I guess...
yeah, I think Lovecraft, created that.
I should be very mad at myself today.
I'm not
Lovecraft.
positive, though.
No, I think you're right, because
I think Lovecraft probably got it from something, too, you know?
Lovecraft got it from Alien, so there you go. He lived well beyond his time.
It's all just the time-traveling sort of thing.
It's always funny to, look up, Lovecraft stuff, and then find, you read, whether he was incredibly racist.
He inspires so much shit you don't even realize. I've read some of his stuff, and, I'm always, shocked.
The sad part is to read the sections where it says he was incredibly racist and xenophobic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's in his books. He's like, the wild-looking, he'll have a name for a black...
That's probably why he was so talented. Because he stayed away from those people.
Maybe all the monsters were just the illegal immigrants that he wanted out of the country.
Right.
He goes, it was a faceless voyage of people with dark skin. Ugh. Anyway, so the film... I think, it definitely was a scare factor for back then. And this is a movie where its mood is in control of everything. And the guy Ridley Scott knows how to direct the film. I don't know whether he still knows to direct the film. I've seen recent stuff of his.
You'll see Prometheus and you'll think he knows how to direct the film.
That's why I want to see Prometheus, actually, because of this film. Because I was like, wow.
I saw that in 3D. It's the only 3D movie I've ever seen in my life. And it was so fucking awesome looking.
You didn't see Freddy Part 6? That was 3D.
Oh, what? That one scene or whatever with the worms?
That was the best part of the movie. What are you talking about? Anyway, but yeah, that's why I want to actually watch Prometheus. I might actually watch Prometheus after this because I was so I'm in the mood to see more of this type of film where it's like science fiction, which is creepy at the same time.
Yeah, and, it's a pretty decent movie. I'm not going to say it's amazing, but it's
right.
Good.
In anybody else's, I could understand the hype for it. I mean, because a lot went into it, and especially the background. A lot of the storyboards were designed based on works of, I don't know whether it was done by him or reminiscent of this French artist named Mobius, who you should look up. Mobius is amazing. He died a couple years ago.
Mobius, I will look that up.
A lot of his stuff was actually supposed to be used for the original version of Dune. There's a movie called, because I know you like Dune. We spoke about it actually before recording. Dune was supposed to be a film made by this director called Jodorowsky. I forget his first name. And they used
Mobius. Them off and they put David Lynch.
Right, and there's a documentary you can see online called Jodorowsky's Dune, which actually played in theaters a couple months ago.
Is it good?
And from what I saw, it looked pretty cool. It's basically
I'd be curious to see it just to see if it's more like the books.
Yeah, you should check it out actually because they're going into the process of they made this whole film and then they ended up not making it at all, and they used Mobius to storyboard and do some key art framing for it. And Mobius, if you ever see any of his artwork, is amazing. He's just really, really great work that he does, and I think you would appreciate his stuff too.
Yeah, I'll definitely look it up.
So with that, the original budget for this film, I think, was about $4 million, and once they saw the storyboards that had Mobius-style artwork, they actually bumped it up to $8 million. So that's why the film looks even better. Because any other director would have I think because the script is sort of normal. You know what I mean?
Well, at this point it is, but, at the time maybe it was a really cool script. I don't know. It's, it's like a generic sort of action movie idea.
Right, and this film was inspired, after watching it wasn't inspired by, but it helped the process. I think two of them were Star Wars A New Hope and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Were big influences on the making of the film because they wanted to amp up the scariness of it. Obviously, Star Wars because of the science fiction aspect of it, science fantasy, I guess.
The alien is Luke's father.
But I was surprised at how they killed Dallas midway through the film, so I guess they could bump up Ripley's character, and I didn't feel offended by it because I think every character had their own place in the film. There was nobody kind of left behind in the film.
Only the person who shows their butt crack deserves to survive.
You are obsessed.
And Ripley is that woman.
I know I can't turn down a good butt crack, so I understand what you're saying. I remember I was at work once, and there was this girl who was I guess she was sleeping around with everybody else at the job except for me. This is in my younger days.
Well, you probably dodged an STD.
Which is I wouldn't mind having that as a badge. And she walked around one day and her whole butt crack was exposed, and I was just staring at her like a
there was probably
like psychopath.
like several people's DNA floating around in that butt crack.
Oh my god. So who was your favorite character in the film?
Ripley.
Yeah, I think Ripley.
I really like Ash.
What was with that acting when Ash went like crazy? Not to use the Doctor Who thing again, but he turned into one of those crazy robots at the end, like with his hands and karate motions and stuff like that.
Right.
Like he just decided to go berserk. Like what happened there?
I'm telling you, it was the blue balls.
I know though that he was programmed to kind of just bring back the alien species to be weaponized. But it kind of seems like he just went crazy. Like there wasn't no Terminator coolness about him. Do you know what I mean? He just kind of went crazy and was like attack, just attacking Sigourney Weaver's character.
Right.
And that felt kind of like out of left field. But I guess I like the fact that they had a secondary villain.
It added to the creepiness factor.
And the special effect of his head getting knocked off and walking around is phenomenal. Even for like a movie from the 70s, I was guessing how they did it. Although obviously it was an animatronic.
And all that like milky shit coming out of him.
Yeah, that's what happened when I saw Aliens and when they killed what's his name? When they didn't kill him, but Bishop, and I had to look away from the screen because I was like Jesus Christ! I was like a little kid watching it, going.
The fucking thing stabs right through him and everything. Yeah.
In one of the prototypes for the horror deconstruction, I did another show called the genre deconstruction with this guy that we know, Mike, and we were talking about aliens. And one of the funniest stories is that he saw aliens as a kid in the movie theater, and the part where the alien kills Bishop or he splits him in half. Then Mike was like a kid, and he got up and he ran out of the theater. It's like picture a kid just running out. Although I couldn't do better because when I saw Child's...
Yeah, you were like the biggest wuss in the world.
I know. When I saw Child's Play 4, I ran out of the theater. Just the opening credits of his face.
Child's Play 4?
Child's Play 3. Child's Play 3. Because they just show his face on screen, and it's like the opening credits, and I ran out.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're like 15 when
what
Child's
a giant
Play 4
pussy.
came out.
Yeah, no, I was a huge pussy. I'm still a pussy to these days. Sigourney Weaver's...
So what would you rate it?
Whoa! Anyway, I guess since you cut me off, I'll give it a rating.
Oh, wait, no, what
I'll
were you
give it...
say?
Nah, I was going to say nothing important. I was probably going to talk about...
I mean, so you were going to say what you normally say.
I thought it was kind of goofy that they put her in her panties for no reason at the end, but I guess that was just for all the guys that were bored.
Don't steal my rating. You know what it's going to be.
Maybe I should do that right now.
No, don't.
Alright, so I'll give it... one of the best scenes out of the film... and totally not sexualized, I guess. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Having an alien kill everybody else normally, but since you're a female, sticks its tail right up your ass. What was that about? That was like her, of all people, had an alien tail right up her ass.
The alien was curious what sodomy felt like.
Go ahead.
He was trying to learn.
He was a New York City cop. That's what he was doing. But go ahead.
Alright, I'm going to give this movie... based on my overall opinion of all movies, because otherwise I would say it's like a perfect, but I'm going to give it like a 9 out of 10, not showing any boobs or anything the entire movie, but then having a nice little butt crack scene very discreetly, just to like
that. Listen,
justify and reward the viewers.
I'm with you on that, Danny. I love a nice butt crack in a film. It's a great thing. It's funny. Originally, Ridley Scott wanted a scene where the alien gets sexually aroused by Sigourney Weaver because it looks at her through the screen, and then it starts touching its body. But then he decided to get rid of it.
Biomechanical penis or something.
Its penis comes out of its ear holes. So with that, that's the first film in Josh month, which is Alien. So Josh, good going. So with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Whoa. 2.